Mr. Munsami. Colleagues, without wasting much time, I'm going to ask everyone in the room to stand as I call our Honorable MEC. Louder.
Thanks a lot. Let's get seated. Program directors, let me take this opportunity to greet you this lovely afternoon. Take this opportunity to also greet the partners that have made us to be who we are in the context of the subject matter today. HOD, DDGs, and the entire top management, in particular the leading team from the curriculum and ICT that have actually made our day to be so colorful today. The invited guests that are here, Chief, I have acknowledged you, the media houses that are part of sharing notes with the people of the province, but also those unidentified, but at the same time important people that might have not been noticed. Colleagues, I don't intend to bore you in terms of the academic speech today. The marathon starts tomorrow. I'm saying the marathon starts tomorrow because, Mamqilis, when we were invited to be part of the delegation of the minister to engage the people of the country in the budget vote number 16 a couple of weeks ago in the National Assembly. I then chose, because we were assigned to give some clarity in terms of the policy direction as a province, as part of enriching the discussion of the minister's presentation into the National Assembly, discussion of the policy speech of the minister. We deliberately chose to respond on the discussion paper by drawing the attention of the nation into the National Development Plan deliberately. And I could see when we were there that some people were not at ease with us. But I felt, TDG Twagati, we must proceed. The reason we took the nation back to the NDP is precisely because if the nation succeeds or fails, it will depend on the clarity of purpose of this department. If the nation wants to take things for granted and thinks that it can resolve the problems that it has in the main, again, it will have to be whether have we been able to rise to the occasion in terms of unbundling the necessarily skill that is required outside there. And that's why when we were engaging the discussion in Cape Town a couple of weeks ago, we just have to give few minutes a lecture on the NDP. Because if you don't do that, you run a risk of producing people whom I regard them as certificated people, not learned people. And the unfortunate part of it is that indirectly, you might have consciously or unconsciously contributed to the triple crisis that the nation is confronted with. As a developing nation, we have to find a way on how to deal with some of those questions. But of course, taking comfort out of discomfort, even if it means raising things that many people wouldn't want to raise them. I'm raising this because today, colleagues, we are launching an e-learning platform for the people of the province. And I'm happy to tell you that maybe you may have forgotten that the history of the province is a history of intellectual property and a history of innovation and strategic thinking. Yes, of course, we might have faltered here and there in the past, but for this nation to go back where it belongs, you have to seize the moment as a province on this particular question. You will have to seize the moment. A week ago, the kids of this province demonstrated again that the intellectual property resides here. In the context of the school enrichment programs. And I was addressing the minister on Thursday afternoon in the CEM that when she was indicating that the current profile of the country in terms of the science faculty and the production, therefore, of quality is in Limpopo, and raise quite a very profound statement that even in Limpopo, that quality comes from rural schools. Now, I was then, Titi Chitwakati, reminding the minister to say to her, look, there is a relationship scientifically between Limpopo and Eastern Cape. When you come to Eastern Cape, you will find that the mathematics and science is found in the Pondoland area, which is regarded as the second poorest area in the country. After Alfred Nzo, which is regarded as the first one in the country. Now, I am not so sure whether researchers have been able to do their work properly in the country. What does that mean? The relationship between poverty and intellectual capabilities. I'm not so sure. But I'm saying there is something that needed to be done, HOD, because in terms of the schooling system you have in the country and as well in the province is the same profile. 70% of the population of the learners are coming from quintile 1 to 3, which then tells you that any decision from a policy point of view must be aligned towards that direction. Because liberating those in quintile 1, 2, 3, it means have liberated 70% of the population of the kids in the country. Now, that would need a wall-to-wall plan, and that would need a bit of a decisive attitude with an element of redress, and also with an element of innovation, so that we can be able to respond to some of the critical questions that continues to be a worrying factor for the people of this country. But for me today, this is just a one step forward in trying to build the human capital and also drawing the attention of the people of the province back to the province. If there is one thing that we must resolve as a provincial government, HOD, is the human capital that is all over the country that belongs here. We must get those people here back and fix up their own backyard. They must fix up their own backyard, and that would need a bit of stable governance and resource allocations that are properly coordinated and also strategically located for us to obtain whatever goals that we have set for ourselves. The battle about the direction of the nation is going to be quite a momentous task, especially for the people of the province, precisely because of the changes that are happening at an international level. For example, if you are saying cannabis is one of the property portfolios that could change the economic fortunes of the people of the world, where do you get cannabis? You get it in the Eastern Cape. Now, mhlambi ke leni basikhumsha intsangu. Mhlambi sithethe ngesixhosa. Uba ihlabathi lithi ubutyebi balo ngoku lusentsangweni, ifumaneka phi lentsangu? Ifumaneka apha eMpuma Koloni. And I'm then saying, our task then is to formulate, both in terms of content and form, on what then becomes the strategic view and alignment of the curriculum content along the niche areas of enrichment for the 30 years to come. So, in one way or another, we will have to tamper with the current status quo in terms of curriculum. And loo nto ayizulidishwa kwenye ndawo, Chief Director Mamubhula, izawunyanzeleka ilidishwe apha. Because you can't allow people that have got no experience, no knowledge, no passion about oceans economy to lead oceans economy. It doesn't work. Ingxako zabanayo kulando kubhaqa abantu abanamachibi bekhokhela ubutyebi obuvela elwandle. And I'm then saying it's going to be important, DDG. Maybe we'll talk with the HOD to extend your stay, DDG Jwagat, so that we can be able to check and balance what is the meaning of the 800 square kilometer oceans distance of the province in the broader scheme of the country. And if therefore, is it enough therefore to define oceans economy in terms of the maritime studies? And if not, what should be then our benchmarking? And how should we deal with that question? Currently, Program Director, we who are engaged on agro-processing and agro-export goods that are produced in the province. Yes, that's well and good. There is nothing funny about that, it's good. But I'm then arguing to say to you, as a sector of thinkers, you can't have an export-dependent economy as a province. You can't. You run a risk of everything being commodified to a level of not having it, by the way. Let me just for your take, just make an example as part of this discussion today. Ngapha kwendlela kwenziwa imoto apha West Bank. Uphuma kwayo warehouse la moto funeka idibane nenqanawe iyokwenzelwa utsiki eJamani. Depend. La moto ezimotweni izikhweleyo iMercedes Benz ezizilapha. You can't buy that car without having gone back to Germany first. Ngoku product yalapha, it must first go back to Germany and then come back for sales. So in essence, funeka iqala igoduke yokwenzela utsiki ibuye ke ngoku izoba ripe for production, for any global production. And I'm then saying, these are things that we must be able to look very closely on how to deal with them. How to deal with them, because when it gets out of our shores and come back, it comes back as an export. Right? Ubufuna uyibona lento ndiyithethayo uphuma kwethu apho ukuziphima izuzu noba yi-25 to 30 ume apha ecala ko Edgar's stairs apha Oxford Street ume pha mhlambi okanye masilindela xesha lophuma kwabantu emsebenzini ngakumbi aba bapha eNash uzofika xa behayika pha befuna ukhwela ezi zethu imoto bangayihayikile iphume ezandleni zabo bayayoyika. Uzijonge lento ndithethayo. They don't want to ride on their own products. Bafuna uhayika ezi zibonakala singathi simoto zabantu. So I'm saying that orientation of a deep-seated supremacy of European products, that when they come into the African continent, how should we deal with that question? And I'm then saying it's a matter that as we enhance the capacity of the state in the context of digital platforms now, how are we going to deal with that question? Umfi uKotshana usweleka singaphendulananga umbuzo ngexesha ebesiqala le product yokufaka iiPads ebantwaneni. Siyavumelana apha noJola uba Jola imeko yethu ithi kuzofuneka si-bridge gap between the poor, the vulnerable, and the established. Senze la contract ke yaphelele court SCOM. Kodwa i-debate eyayiserious kulanto that he left that discussion with me was not the iPads. The debate was whose content and ideas must be inside. Because my argument to him was that language is not knowledge. Language is heritage. And language is not just about communication, but the conceptualization of ideas. And if then, as we digitalize everything as a world, this debate about which ideas must dominate the space is not attended to, there is going to be a problem. I'm rising with this debate because, yes, today we are issuing up the platform, HOD, and management and colleagues. But very soon, Dr. Wababa, that mother tongue bilingual-based education must be there. Because science has proven that nations that has got mother tongue bilingual as a medium of instruction are the best in terms of the economies of the world. In the CM last week, indirectly so, one professor presented a very interesting debate, which I happened to be interested on it, but because of time we could not engage him. Why, as South Africans, are we in teams? If teams, as a barometer for measuring maths and science, is predominantly controlled via mother tongue bilingual education of those countries, what were you expecting as a throughput? Because aba bantu kompyutha nabo abanangxaki ya translation of language. Bayangqo kwi-content. Wena funeka uqale kwi-translation uze kwi-science yalento ubuye uzo-analyze the question. Now the debate then was that the failure of the country is not about whether the kids could write or not write. The issue was about the language in teams itself. Because up, kama Germany la, a presenter is Germany sawo kule teams competition. Ngama America a presenter i-English yawo. Then izoba sithi as South Africa in the continent and as well Morocco. Then my interest, DTG Jwagati, was on Morocco. Is Morocco using the foreign language in education? And the answer is no. Morocco is using its own mother tongue. And hence it is better in teams than us. And I'm then saying, colleagues, we unfortunately we will have to find a better way on how best do we master the art and skill of making education fashionable, but also appreciate the fact that you are a diverse nation. And appreciate the fact that the world is evolving, is not static, and any interventions that are being made thus far are meant to enhance the capacity of the nation that we seek to build. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. You may have not noticed how impactful you are. You may have not noticed how glorious and important you are, but equally, you have left a milestone that the generations to come will never forget. We may have not been able to explain this DDG Jogati, but I felt I must explain before I shut down. Ndike ndathi kwenye indawo ndithi kubo kodwa masivaneni yayingekho rongo lento yoba ngunamba mqutsu. Qha zange sikwazi uyi-explain. Hey, ya kwakho irawu kule nto ndiyithethayo. Ndithi Sikhomo, by the time the Eastern Cape was umkanja, it was a golden umkanja. Why? Because at that time, it was the time when the people of the Eastern Cape took a very unpopular decision. Yokokuba makuyekwe ukufundwa nje, makufundwe for a purpose. It was very difficult, the people of the Eastern Cape, to accept that their kids must do maths and science. Because they knew that it is going to be a mountain to climb for them to pass. Now, ndithi ke ngoku la nhlanganiso bendikuyo, nifuna ntoni? Nifuna ulwazi okanye nifuna umpaso? Because by that time, it was a transition between umpaso nolwazi. Now, you could not be able to capture ulwazi. As a result of that, we interpret as a system that is failing. Whilst in actual fact, the system that is failing is the one that produces 100% pass rate. Because the 100% pass rate, nankuya is saloon. Nankuya ungena future in any stream economically in the country. So you can't then bury kids of the people by just giving them certificates that are not even going to do anything about them. So it's going to be important that we just oppose and align our strategic thinking. Whether are we able to understand why are we having a program of learning and teaching? Because teaching is something else. A teacher can go to a classroom and present a lesson. That does not guarantee learning. And the learner can come into a class and listen to the presentation. Equally, that does not guarantee learning. I can write a homework, and that homework does not guarantee learning. Because learning is a process, acquisition of skill and knowledge, so that I can be able to meet any demands that could be there outside world. So that's why I'm then saying, colleagues, for this particular event today, it's a milestone that all of us, we must preserve. Reorganize ourselves, make sure that at least we connect all the FET band schools in a short space of time. Because if we can manage to connect all those 998 plus, if I'm not mistaken, FET schools, I can assure you, the debate outside there will change. That's why I was saying to the team of curriculum and through the subject advisors and ECDoEs last month, unfortunately, you can't take your eyes off the ball now. Abantu baseMpuma Koloni banibhaqile. Banibhaqile into yobana you do have a capacity to produce results. And you can't then let them down now. So it's going to be important that we hold each other's hand now. Because they are expecting nothing lesser than what we have done sometime last year. But I derive comfort from the team that I'm working with. Colleagues, we have been able to navigate in the space with all the challenges of the province, with all the challenges of the provincial government space, but also the underdevelopment of the province in particular. But we have been able to make sure that at least we present a sizable product that could all of us be proud of, at least Last week, we were awarded as the best natural research science primary school in the country, yasembizana. Ndithi ke ku MEC wakwa health, ikhona iDNA efuna ndinenze yona nina pha eMampondweni. Because utishala we-physics, who is regarded as the best in the country, kwase-Flagstaff. Abatishala bathathu that are regarded as best in mathematics in the country, baticha eBhayi. Abayi-2 ngabase-Flagstaff. Now again, uMinister uawada la primary school last week kula competition ka-Eskom as research as the best in the country yasembizana, again eMampondweni. Now ndithi ke kukhona nje into efuneka ke sincokole ngayo ukwenzela into yoba uba iyakwazeka uspreadwa across the province, sikwazi ubenefita nathi bangengomampondo. Because it is evident that even if you talk about numbers that are doing maths and science in the province, you'll find them in that belt. Now, ndiyafuna ke ukuthi ke HOD and the TTGs, thank you for the sterling work. The province looks on you now. Unfortunately, you might think that you are leading a department. You must carry other departments along. If it was not for you, I don't think we would be where we are after elections. I don't think so. Precisely because, one, we have been able to deal with the narrative of infrastructure here. Bendisithi kuMinister kulesihlanu ngokagqibezelayo, ndithi hayi ngoku u-cutting edge ucelwa ndim ngoku. Ndim lo mcelayo. Ndiyamcela ngoku. Ndiyamcela because funeka sixhome u-cutting edge ngapha. Ngapha mna ndixhome u-0 wemali infrastructure ephelileyo. Ngapha. Uxhoma u-cutting edge kwelicala. Thina sixhome 105 schools that we have built ngapha. Again, we have been able to deal nalendine management and curriculum in the form of examinations, mabona. You would be surprised in the discussion of the CM this week. Ndijonga pha ndithi ayingaba abantu bebengonamba mgqutshu nabaxhonyekeke kubo ngocinga ngokwapha eholweni. Now, it then tells you the investment that you have made, TTG Chwakati, on the curriculum policies of this province. Because you could see all presentations presented by Dr. Whittle, presented by Geya, presented by all these DTGs national. But this one is coming from the Eastern Cape, this policy. Now, which then tells you that what we just needed to do is to consolidate ourselves, become a wall, and ensure that we optimally utilize our abilities and capabilities. And we are gone. The minister is coming on the 2nd, by the way, here. She said she wanted to visit you on the 2nd and 3rd. We are busy preparing for that visit of the minister. On 2 things. She wanted to respond on our behalf on the issue of school safety in northern areas and Nelson Mandela in general. But in the response, he wants to knock sense with the ministers of the social cluster and the justice system. that ayongxaki yakwa education le abantu abafika baxhomisa abantu. Yisayini ebonakalisa uba how open and vulnerable the nation is. So we welcomed that. We just welcomed that. And I was shocked, DDG, to hear that, again, we have gone back to what we did in 2017, 2018. Hayi ndithi mandiyithethe kwenzela uba uba nithe nayeka la mxakatho ningathi zandinixelele. DG is preparing Mamkese to give the money that other provinces are not using back to the province, which then tells you that our grant system is performing very well. All of them. Now, ibuyela ke kulaa ngxoxo bendikhe ndayiraise apha kuni DDG uba between 30th November and first week of December, we must have finished the grant money here, so that we are just left with paying salaries up until the end of the financial year. Because if you do that, it means the money that now is beginning to open up a discussion, DG, is going to go to those provinces that have already finished. By the way, you are overspending, Mamupul, on grant. Yabona ke overspending, andingo CFO mna. Kumi positive. Kumi positive overspending kuba andinaxanduva lawo explain abayijikelana imali ingxaki zikhona. Andaba ndiyavakalana. Yeyibona? Kumi positive overspending because it means work is being done. Because once ufuna uyicontrola kakhulu uphela utyiwa lixesha le procurement policies zoMarias kuzoba khona ingxaki. So I'm saying that now there are indicators that are lighting red that our grant systems are performing beyond measure. It means let's stick there. Let's stick there. Ndihlala phansi ke ngelithi la team yenu DDG kathi yembarase i-department last year must do that again. Yes. Last year, DDG. Last year, you embarrassed all of us here. Nathotyole marks kwi-maths. Why? Because you performed beyond the measure. Now, ndithi ke ngoku, phinda uyokwenza laa nto bekuthiwe irongo. Irayithi ngoku, birongo last year. Irayithi ngoku. Because awusukwazi kaloku uba ne-performance at beyond the barometer zakwa examinations and assessment at that time. So that's why you have got a drop in the percentage and marks of maths in the province and also the languages course. In actual fact, we should have gone to position 3 last year, if that didn't happen. Now, ndithi ke masingaba discourage otishala, siba discourage omabona, mabaxelelwe into bani ibe right laa nto nifike noyistandardize mabona. Ibe right. Ibe wrong ngoku, yeah, because there was no benchmarking for it at that time. Now there is a policy of benchmarking that is ripe for next year. Go back and do what you were corrected to be wrong last year, so that you are able to pull the provinces out of what has been. Out of what was been. Yabona xa ndandisherishelwa hayi ndiyayithetha ngoku. Xa ndandisherishela i-SMS ngu-DG umweli uba Eastern Cape will bounce back, I nearly cried because I knew into yoba it means sitrotshelwe ii-marks. Now ndithi ke colleagues, masingaba-discourage abatishala. Let's go back to the drawing board, manage school-based assessment, manage everything that is necessary for us to achieve the objectives that we have set for ourselves. Zawuqiniseka ke into yokuba at least siyenza kangangoko sinako. Siyenza kangangoko sinako, ubuyaqaphela apha ephondweni. Zininzi izikole ezakhiwayo ngoku. Zininzi nesizikhuphayo. But into ezawubaluleka yinto kokuba kuzawufuneka sibe nendlela yokumanage the entry and the exit. Sibe nendlela yoyimanage the entry and the exit, because currently we are engaging the universities that we have, because we must be able to see whether in the next coming 30 years there is no signs of a crisis from a social incoherence point of view. And hence I'm then saying, kuzawufuneka ke ngosibe nendlela yoyimanage le exit and also nale entry point yabatishana. Ubana nje singakwazi ukuba a bit aggressive luthuli kwa corporate services. Let's close up ranks, pay all the accruals that are due, make sure that we pay all the service providers, that especially the ones that are going to make you succeed on the examinations. All those that are in that space, we must minimize them not doing the work on the basis that they have not been paid. Because the capacity of what you'd want to achieve depends on whether are we able to oil up our machinery. So we will have to find a better way at DDG Jwakati to make sure that that LACE program succeed. Ndiyayazi mosiba ubuzocela 10 million ndakunika. That LACE program, that 10 million must hit the district as early as possible, so that uzonqandela aba bantwana baku level 1 kula mathematics by plus minus 9,000. Take them out of the danger zone and then we proceed and go. Otherwise, thank you for the effort and thank you for the program. Nkosi kakhulu.